You know why you clicked this video, because you want to know about this Dolph and Yo Gotti situation like me. Well, welcome to Rich House Crime. You know what I mean? This is the realest true crime hip-hop channel on the net, and we are here to really break this down. If you are into true crime like how I'm into true crime, and you also like hip-hop as well, make sure you subscribe, man, because I need some subscribers over here. We're not going to waste too much time. Let's jump right into this. It's going to be a three-parter. So, if you're not here for the long ride, don't even watch the video.
And don't get me started on the crime. The region stretches from Louisiana to Mississippi, Alabama.
Oh, hold on. We got to make sure we hear the first words, man, because the first words might be the plot to the whole story. All right, there we go.
The Delta is by far America's most dangerous region. Dirt poverty, humid weather, mosquitoes, corroded infrastructure, disease rates, and don't get me started on the crime. The region stretches from Louisiana to Mississippi, Alabama, and kind of up to western Tennessee. And if you're unfamiliar with the area, it holds by far the highest poverty rates and violent crime rates in the country. Like, it's exponentially more dangerous here than anywhere else you could go. The cities really speak for themselves. I mean, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Jackson, Mobile, Birmingham, Shreveport.
I ain't going to none of them places with a chain on. I'm telling you that. If I'm going out there, I ain't got no chain on. Don't ask me. I ain't got it.
The largest city of them all, Memphis, Tennessee. This is a place where if you haven't been, you truly have no idea.
And it's like too much going on, and I just can't.
The last week has felt like an eternity for a Memphis woman.
Now, my kids can't even go outside no more.
A simple act this mother no longer takes for granted after she and her uncle were shot outside of her home on Ridgerest Avenue. This all stemmed from an argument at the B52 market where a man allegedly threatened to kill her after she confronted him about her child.
Wow.
She says the man then followed her home and opened fire.
Charges for the deadly crime spree.
A chopper on a female? They out there wailing like that?
During Super Bowl Sunday. Cordarian Kraft was indicted on 48 counts, including first-degree murder and aggravated assault. During the crime spree, Kraft shot and killed one man, hurt two women, and carjacked two other people. That weekend in February, Kraft had been out on a $100,000 bond after being accused in a separate robbing and shooting this past November.
The violent crime in Memphis is absolutely out of control. To put it in perspective, in 2024, San Francisco had 35 homicides. Now, this is a city of 850,000 people. Now, Memphis is a city of only 600,000, and they saw 357 homicides in the same exact.
Hey, yo, tell me the numbers that's going on in y'all areas, you know what I mean? Because if you want to base it off, like where I'm from on the East Coast, I live in Las Vegas, them numbers is not that high, bro.
Period. This gives Memphis a homicide rate nearly 3 times higher than Chicago and 9 times higher than Los Angeles. Memphis is truly a scary place, but let me just tell you that it wasn't always this way. At one point, Memphis was a thriving middle-class city. A city known for rock and roll, blues, barbecue, a massive military training base, and for being a trading hub along with the Mississippi
I ain't never been out there in my life.
It was also a major factor in the civil rights movement, which in a twisted way would be the beginning of its downfall. As the strive for equality continued to succeed in the 1960s, the white population of Memphis left with a quickness like never seen before. In fact, the city of Memphis went from 91% white in 1960 down to just 24% white in 1990. Now, why exactly does this matter? Well, it's not because of race. It's because anytime a huge chunk of your population leaves the city, it's going to have some negative effects. Tax revenue falls, schools close, police are laid off, companies leave, and that's how we start the spiral that we have today. Like, if you go around Memphis today, you'll see abandoned houses everywhere, lack of jobs, rundown schools, and definitely a severe lack of policing. In fact, in 2023, Memphis solved only 31% of murders, and that's compared to 65% nationally. So yeah, Memphis is an extremely rough place to grow up, and even harder.
Yo, write damn in the comments if you got to this part of the video.
To make it out of, as you'll see in this video. A city where simply being successful will make you a target, and where your own friends will eliminate you.
Rest in peace, Young Dolph, man.
Zero structure, zero rules, no big homies, just all pure chaos. Welcome to the war in Memphis. But before we get into it, let me finally run the intro.
Well, this is my first Swamp Stories reaction. I've never seen none. If y'all got some suggestions on other ones, drop them in the comments. Hold on. Hold on.
The story begins in North Memphis, specifically the infamous Ridgerest Apartments. Infamous for all the wrong reasons, and this is where a boy named Mario Mims was born in 1981. Mario grew up in a truly hectic environment, outside the apartment, but most importantly inside as well. Unfortunately, as a young child, Mario saw his parents cook up and trap out of the apartment, exposing him to things that no child should ever see.
If I open the deep freezer to get a popsicle, it stacks some money in the deep freezer. If they drop me off over my auntie house to play with my cousin, it stacks some money in they shit.
Despite his toxic environment, Gotti was smart and was able to succeed in school. However, when he got to his teenage years, he had a lot of responsibilities because he was basically out on his own. So around the age of 14, Gotti began hustling in the rough streets of Memphis. And because he learned the game from his family, he was able to do it pretty successfully, enabling him to buy some things that he never thought he could have. For him, it was a Mustang GT on Dayton's and a bunch of fresh clothes. That's all that really mattered. But Mario knew that he didn't want to be a criminal forever. In fact, he had much bigger dreams for his life. Inspired by the local success stories of 3-6 Mafia and 8-Ball and MJG, he knew that he wanted to be a rapper. So from the age of 15, Mario began recording music and selling his CDs out of the trunk. His rap name was Lil Yo, and he dropped his first mixtape as a sophomore in high school in 1996.
Wow.
Long story short, Mario kept hustling his mixtapes for 13 straight years. To put it simply, he just never gave up as he finally cracked his way into the industry.
Yo, I met Yo Gotti in New York, man, when he was doing a lot of that mixtape run, and this guy was like the only down south guy in New York. Seriously.
In 2009. With songs like 5 Star and Women Lie, Men Lie featuring Lil Wayne, he was becoming a household name. But being a 30-plus-year-old brand new rapper, he knew that he couldn't be a rapper forever, so he started to shift his mentality into being a boss. So in 2012, he opened his label called CMG, short for Cocaine Money Gang. The idea was that he was already a hometown hero in Memphis, so he wanted to sign local talent and take their careers to the next level. However, CMG was off to a slow start, as for the first 2 years, nobody signed to Gotti. There just wasn't really a lot of local talent or interest to sign to an artist like Yo Gotti, cause no disrespect, but why would you sign to Yo Gotti when you can sign to literally anyone else? But as we know, Gotti is persistent, and just like his rap career, he was willing to be patient until he found the right artist. Well, that takes us to 2014, when Gotti was able to find his perfect protege to sign.
Whoa.
We now shift to the south side of Memphis, specifically the notorious Castalia Heights neighborhood.
I ain't know that.
Abandoned houses, rats, roaches, and non-stop gunplay. Here is where a man named Dolph Thornton was raised most of his life.
Rest
he was
in
actually
peace,
born
Dolph,
to his parents in Chicago, but if you know anything about history, you know that everyone in Chicago's grandparents come from Memphis or Mississippi. Well, just like Yo Gotti, Dolph's parents were involved in the game as well, so they sent him to live with their grandma while they did the street stuff in Chicago. They figured that they didn't want him exposed to their lifestyle, and grandma's house would be a much better environment. And while yes, grandma was strict and tried to keep him sheltered, his neighborhood of Castalia was just as bad as Chicago and probably actually worse. Dolph is really from the bottom of the bottom, and because of this, his grandma did her absolute best to make sure he was disciplined.
My grandma was she was little. She one of them little bitty ladies, you know what I'm saying? Then she older. But man, my grandmama don't play no game. I'm talking about it's like, nah, it ain't even about the ass whoop. She would do that when I was little, but she still had this fear that made me fear her even when I was in high school and got grown and older. You feel me? Like,
that's why a lot of these YNs ain't got no brain in their head. They ain't got no grandparents.
You this look, or she got this, she'll cuss you out in a second and not even think about it.
She prepared the nigga for life. She fucked the nigga up in a good way. Like, cause it's like, I don't expect shit from nobody.
He would later appreciate her discipline, but as a teenager, he really didn't understand it and he rebelled and jumped into the streets. So while still in high school, Dolph started hustling the streets of Memphis and stacking up major paper. But again, just like Gotti, he knew that he didn't want to do that forever and he had bigger dreams for his life. He knew that he wanted to do something with music, but he wasn't sure if he knew how to rap. That's until 2008 when his friends would get him in the studio and he realized that, oh my goodness, I can actually rap. This became his new hustle and passion, and he began slanging mixtapes in the streets of Memphis.
Ain't that
Slowly but
Don
surely,
Trip?
he began gaining traction, but he never had the idea of signing to a label. Instead, he wanted to start his own. This is exactly what he did, as in 2010, he started his label Paper Route ENT, also known as PRE. Basically, he created his own movement and he gained recognition from Gucci Mane, Trey the Truth, Rick Ross, and most importantly, Yo Gotti. Yep, in 2014, Gotti discovered Young Dolph's mixtapes and music videos, and he saw all the potential in the world. He saw him as Memphis's next biggest superstar, but more importantly for him, CMG's next biggest artist, or first biggest artist. Because remember, at this time, other than Yo Gotti himself, the CMG label had not done well at all.
Yeah,
so
there wasn't really no
Dolph
Memphis
was like
artist.
light at the end of the tunnel. This guy can save the brand. On top of this, he figured that Dolph signing with him was a no-brainer. Like, why would he ever turn that down? I'm the biggest, richest boss in Memphis, and I can give him a deal that he can't turn down. On top of this, he figured that the trust would be there, because if you don't know, Dolph and Gotti's older brother named Jook, well, they used to move weight together in the streets.
That's what it is.
Well, long story short, in 2014, Gotti contacts Dolph and tries to sign him. Obviously, he's expecting Dolph to be ecstatic and to want to sign with him right away. But that's not the case at all. In fact, Dolph has zero intentions to sign with Yo Gotti, no matter how big the bag is.
Yo.
It truly was nothing personal.
It's business.
Dolph really just didn't want to sign to another man. He wanted to be his own boss. So in his mind, he respectfully declined Gotti's offer.
You know what's sad is they both got big enough where they could have toured together and made some real money.
No hard feelings, just business is business. Now this makes perfect sense, right? Well, it's not that simple, and here's how everything would play out. It's the summer of 2014, just a couple months removed from Dolph turning down Gotti's offer. Well, this is when Dolph makes the shocking decision to sign with a small upcoming label in San Francisco. This would of course be Empire, and if you're familiar with Empire, you know they're not the typical label. In fact, they're more so of a distribution company. Basically, you keep creative control and ownership of your music, and Empire markets and distributes for a percentage of the revenue. It's a very smart deal for a self-motivated hustler like Dolph, because you don't have a label breathing down your back or holding back anything you do. But regardless, this is not what's important for the story. What's important is how Yo Gotti felt about it. Now, regardless of specifics, let's put ourselves in Yo Gotti's shoes. You told me as a man that the reason you turned down my deal is because you don't want to sign a deal at all. And then just a couple months later, you go and sign a record deal. So pretty much you lied to my face. And as a boss from your own city, you should probably have some more respect for me. Not only did I offer you a big bag, but you also used to move weight and hang with my brother, and you still didn't have enough respect to tell me the truth?
That's crazy.
Who do you think you are, lying to the face of the king of Memphis? You. Regardless of right or wrong, this is how I truly believe that Gotti felt. Unfortunately, he took the situation personally.
I didn't know this.
Tensions would rise.
Okay. I know about, I didn't know this is where it started from.
While Gotti was feeling some type of way about Dolph, Dolph's career was taking off to the next level. He dropped hit songs like Preach, Cut It, Get Paid, and his mixtapes were doing pretty well as well.
All on his
Dolph
label.
Became somewhat of a household name by 2016, which only adds fuel to the fire of Yo Gotti's tension. Now, the situation could very well be deeper than this, but from the outside looking in, it was just a business disagreement that turned sour. Well, regardless, Dolph started getting tired of the subliminals and negative energy from Gotti's camp, and he decided to set the record straight. On February 19th, 2016, Dolph adds major fuel to the fire, rubbing his newfound success in Yo Gotti's face. He releases his debut studio album called King of Memphis, where he's obviously claiming the throne to his city. Now, as the saying goes, this city is way too small for the both of us. Like, oh, you drop a couple hit songs and a few decent mixtapes, and now you think that you're ahead of me as the king of the city?
They was clashing in the city.
No way. Right or wrong, Gotti took this as the ultimate disrespect, and he wanted to prove a point. Now that introduces us to Gotti's new artist at the time by the name of Black Youngsta. To the world, Youngsta was a goofy, funny rapper that made songs that you could dance to.
They never mentioned the other dude. I think his name was Zilla. They didn't even mention him.
But little did people know, before he was a rapper, in the streets of Memphis, he was known for, doing Memphis activities. Well, right after Dolph would drop his King of Memphis album, Black Youngsta would send a message online. In fact, he actually goes to Dolph's hood and records himself walking through, sending a warning.
Hey, right now, cuz. Right now, cuz. What Dolph at, cuz? Where he at, cuz? Where he at?
Oh,
where he at?
That's
where he at?
So he used Black Youngsta as the missile.
Where you at, dog? Where you at? Where you at? We in Cash Stadium right now. We just left the store. Where you at right now, dog? Where you at right now?
Wow. That's crazy.
I love Cash Stadium. fuck with Dolph. Yeah, we don't fuck with Dolph. You fuck with Dolph, cuz? You fuck with Dolph, man.
He then posts a video dissing Dolph, telling him that he's soft and that he's not the king of Memphis.
I'm gonna keep this shit G, bro. Dolph, you a soft ass, you nice ass. If you got a problem, nigga, say you got a problem. Shake ass. He ain't no motherfucking king of Memphis. He ain't king of South Memphis. He ain't trying to.
Look, we gonna stop it here. If y'all want part 2, all you gotta do is write part 2, okay? We'll keep it going, and I'll watch the whole series, all right? Make sure y'all subscribe, hit the top bell for your true crime hip-hop, Rich House Crime, and I'm out of here, man. Ooh, it's getting spicy.